Power of the all-in-one is how it is able to put your idle funds to use. And because of that, it ends up being a little bit confusing. It's a unique enough product that people, I think, sometimes have a hard time getting in their head exactly what's happening within the account and why their interest is reducing or something like that. Their interest payment, I should say, is reducing. So I put together this spreadsheet and I just wanted to go ahead and walk through kind of what some months would look like hypothetically as cash flows. Now, housekeeping items. Right now, as I put this together, the secured overnight financing rate was 4.352, and I did it with the highest margin of 4%. So total rate that I'm using on here is 8.352, which is the daily interest charge. Now, obviously, that's going to reset because it's a variable product each month. Not getting completely in the weeds here. I'm just keeping that throughout. So that's just my standard little thing there. I'm starting with a loan balance of $500. We always have to say that it can take up to 60 days once you completed the loan before your banking component is set up so that you can start transferring those monies back and forth. Rather than be redundant in this spreadsheet, in my illustration, I'm just saying that come month 2, we're set up and running, your account's ready to go. So in month 1, for sure, you're always going to have that first month just being the loan balance with the accruing interest. So at the end of that month, all those daily interest charges are calculated and you have a total interest due. Now again, in this example, we're saying we're set up by month 2. So he's able to go ahead. In this case, they net their check deposit each month. They 1st and 15th, they are depositing $7,000 a month. Just kept it a round number for convenience. They are also paying their bills, of course. Now everything's set up. So when they need to pay something, they're just going ahead and writing a check, transferring it online, whatever they're looking to do, debit card, throughout this month. Now, because they know the power of the all-in-one is using somebody else's money whenever possible until they have to pay it, they're using a credit card for a ton of their charges and paying their credit card off in full at the end of each month so that their funds were able to keep their balance lower up until they needed it. So what happens with the interest? When does that get paid? Well, it doesn't get paid per se, as in you don't have to do any kind of transfer for it. It all happens within the account. This interest due amount for month 1 comes out of the account on the 21st of month 2. Comes out of the account, meaning your loan balance goes up by that month. So every time you make a deposit, of course, it sweeps over into your mortgage and it lowers your loan balance, which lowers your daily interest. Every time you make a payment, including when your mortgage payment gets made, basically your interest payment, it raises your balance, which is raising your daily interest until you end up with another deposit. So interest first month was $34.32. As they're cash flowing, in this case, in second month, their interest at the end of that month is $33.76, which again comes out on the 21st of the following month. Now, I'm just leaving this with them cash flowing the same way. Of course, normally you're going to change, but again, this is the illustration of how it works and why it works. So their normal cash flows, again, now instead of their interest payment being $33.76, it's $33.44. And this is where you can see that payment is reducing in its own way because the interest due is reducing, because all of your money going in there is lowering your principal. Month 4, the property taxes come due. Now, there is no escrow with the all-in-one because, again, why would you have your money sitting there doing nothing for you? It might as well be in the account, keeping your loan balance down until those bills come due. So in this case, their first half of their property taxes happened to be due. That got paid, which raised their loan balance by that much, daily interest, etc. So this is just going on and on and on. I went ahead and ran out to month 7, so 6 months of making payments this way, of cash flowing through the account and doing your expenses. And at the end of that, their interest due payment was $32.31. So the amount that interest due payment decreased in that 6-month period, basically 6 months of cash flowing, was $200. of that interest payment difference. So let's look at a few other things that should in this loan of how you can supercharge it and what it looks like for different kinds of situations. If we think about idle funds, so somebody who has, in this case, $70,000 that they had sitting, say it was even in a money market, it's probably not making them all that much money. Whereas if they stick it in their all-in-one loan, where they still have super easy access to it, it's saving them by all that interest expense. So you can see here, again, month two, in this case, they get their account set up. Now, everything else is the same. It's somebody who's depositing $7,000 twice a month, their expenses, all that. But they're able to take that $70,000 and lower their loan balance by it, which is lowering their interest, of course. So now, go through, I still did month 4 with the tax payment. Everything else is the exact same as the first scenario. But now their monthly interest savings from that original setup to the end is $695 lower that interest due expenses is because of that $70,000 that they've now been able to put to use for them. And yet, should they need it for an emergency, which is what it was sitting there for anyway, they still have access to it. Next illustration is the business owner. So I went all the way back to the first one, and I took out the idle funds and all of that, just started back over, still cash flowing the same as far as checks from his business. But in this case, when you have a business account, you certainly might want to keep those funds separate so that your statement always, matches your business books. But there's no sense in that money just sitting there doing nothing for you again. So if you could sweep over an amount at the beginning of the month after your statement cuts, and then sweep it back before the next statement cuts, your statement balance is always going to reflect the exact amount that business should have in there. So you don't have to sit there and do a bunch of journal entries. This is just how it's working. So in this case, this business owner, he left everything he needed for his monthly bills in the account, but he has $12,000 that he doesn't need this month. So beginning of the month, he swept it over, let it hold down his loan balance. At the 28th, he swept it back over so that his statement could cut on his business account and it would still show whole. And of course, it went back up here, the balance and therefore the interest for those last few days of the month. Month 3 comes, he had the same amount available, swept it over. Does this every month. Month 4, he was like, there's $15,000. I just got paid on a big account and I don't really need that money yet. So this month I'm going to sweep over $15,000. Sweeps it back on the 28th. Month 5, he only had $10,000 to sweep over. He had a big bill he had to pay for. So that swept over back to $12,000 on month 6, on and on and on. And then again, in this case, it was an interest difference from month 1 to month 7 of $274 in savings in that way. Now, again, this wasn't using that big lump sum of idle funds. This was going back to the original one. And then another place it can be super powerful is for commission employees. So I kept the same annual savings, but said it gets split out by you all of a sudden get big checks, here and there. So in this case, the account set up month 2, they go ahead and deposit their whole entire commission check, $42,000, because they know they can access it as soon as they need to. It might as well be working for them. They do all their expenses. All the expenses are the same. It's just a difference of how this person's getting paid. So month 3, there's no deposits going into it. It's just their expenses. Month 4, same, even with the property tax coming due. Month 5, same. Month 6 ends up getting another big check. So $39,000 gets deposited in month 6. Month 7, no deposits, just expenses. And at the end, the difference in the payment from the beginning to the 6 months into it, month 7, is $204. I hope that this is kind of clicking. Love to go through this with your own numbers, kind of play around with it. But I'm hoping that this is just a good way to help you see exactly the power of it and what's actually happening behind the scenes with that daily interest charge and how it works each month.